India's obviously got good relations with both the US and the EU. And we're just talking about how they're going to get even better. Does it then worry you, this divergence between the transatlantic partners at the moment? There's friction, there's disagreement, there could be a really big trade war if something doesn't happen in the next 4 weeks. Is that a risk or an opportunity for India?
I think it's a reality. Look,
Sorry, you think a transatlantic divergence is a reality?
No, I think there are realities.
Right.
Sometimes, if, as I said, if you've grown up in an alliance culture, even a public difference looks much bigger if you're not used to differences and you're not used to it being aired very, very visibly and articulately. I'm not sure I would worry whether this would happen or that would happen. You take it as you get it, and you make the best of it. I mean, that's really what my business is all about. So we do see today that Europe has a distinct position on many issues. Those are not necessarily the positions shared today in the United States. So that's a reality. Now, as a country which is, we are objective about it. We value our relations with US as we do with the EU. We will deal with each one on terms which are best for both of us.
Could you think of specific areas, though, where that divergence would pose a problem for India in a real practical sense?
Not off the top of my head, because many of the arguments between Europe and US pertain to their own relationship. So if there is a debate about, let us say, defense budgets,
Sure.
Why would I wade into that?
Sure. But you're saying if there is an area where it would then affect their foreign policy perhaps, or affect the way they see your part of the world, then that could be something where you'd have to respond.
Sure.
Trump has a much more, let's say, nuanced view of the war in Ukraine than his predecessor did.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Well, nuanced is the way that people have described India's position towards Russia in the last.
That one is okay.
So do you now feel vindicated that you were always right all along on Russia?
No, look, let me walk back a bit. We have felt from the start that even if two countries, two neighbors have differences, even very deep differences, it cannot be settled by recourse to war. Okay. If war has started, you're not going to get, given the situation, you're not going to get a solution out of the battlefield. If you're not going to get a solution out of the battlefield, then the answer is to negotiate. And if you are going to negotiate, it makes sense to negotiate directly rather than through very convoluted signaling.
Sure.
So that's been our position. It wasn't necessarily widely accepted in 2022, but I think a lot of people have come around to that point of view right now. So to the extent the United States today, under President Trump, also is an advocate of the fact that there has to be a negotiated solution. I think there is a sort of a common ground there, but beyond that, I think they would have their view. We are less involved. They are deeply involved in it.
Sure.
We are not.
But as a accomplished diplomat, as a man whose bread and butter is negotiation, when you look at what's happening in that negotiation between Russia and Ukraine right now, do you think we're closer to peace than we were before?
That's hard to say, you know. That's hard to say because, like any negotiation, you can argue that negotiation is better than no negotiation. But a negotiation does not by itself predicate that you will reach an early conclusion.
Another country that is looking to exploit the current, exploit is a loaded word. Another country is looking to find opportunities in the current geopolitical dislocation is China. How does India sort of make sure that it's taking advantage but also keeping an eye on China? How much does China's actions play into yours?
Look, China, I mean, it's an obvious fact, but still I have to say it. China is an immediate neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a neighbor with whom also we have an unsettled boundary. So that's a big factor in our relations. We have a situation where China and India, who stand out because they're the only two countries with over 1 billion people, but also because they are two civilizational states in a way. They have, you see a kind of a parallel rise. The Chinese started their modernization ahead of us because I think we had at that time governments perhaps who didn't do what they should have done in those early years. But be that as it may, you have a rise of China, you have a rise of India.
Sure.
Now each one is creating a certain new equilibrium between them and the world, the rising power and the world. And then a much more complex equilibrium between the two rising powers, who also happen to be neighbors and who sometimes have common neighbors as well. Yeah. So it is an incredibly complicated matrix. And there are different dimensions to it. There's the boundary dimension to it. There's the balances, if you would. There are economic issues, trade issues. There are, concerns. I mean, we are in a way different economic, social values, political models as well.
Very much, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I think when you look at this relationship, it's far more textured and complicated than it would appear at first sight, where people really think that you have this country and that country, and one will balance the other, one will sort of set off the other.